Alright, it is 9:27 a.m. October the 12th. It is a Tuesday and the main watch list is a bit small, and I think that's great because I don't want to have too many tickers to have here on the main watch list. But IFXY could be a morning panic bounce play setup. It could also, I really like the way it's trading. Maybe if it trades between this 12 and 14 range, maybe for like another day or two, or if it makes some kind of a very nice looking price action, perhaps it can break past this 14 level. It can try the highs right here, and this thing could be some kind of a swing setup. I'm not good at swing setups at all, as in I don't really have much trading experience with it, but this could be something that could make a nice move. With all of that into consideration, it's just looking nice the way it looks here. ALPP, they could do some kind of like a first green day reversal. Not necessarily the best setup because it's a previous runner. It's not like its first run, its second run or something like that. So there is a chance that it actually won't do anything nice, and it could be a short setup too, but I wouldn't want to short something at this price. This is pretty much mid-range, and I don't want to be a part of that. PUGE, this one can be a morning panic bounce play as well. Not really the same for a swing setup, it just doesn't feel the same. MJWL is just going to be a watch just to see if it does anything interesting. MMTLP, this one as well. That's all I have for right now. I'll make an update later. Maybe we'll have some trades, maybe we won't. Alright, it is 9:45 a.m. and I want to make an update. IFXY was the closest thing to a morning panic bounce play, and this doesn't look nice. It was a quick reversal. It wasn't ideal. VWAP was pretty low. Even if it was here at 122 an entry, VWAP is right there. I didn't like it at all. It was too quick. This was not an ideal setup, so I didn't trade it. No other setups that I would have been interested in for a morning panic bounce play. Sure, now it looks like one with PUGE, but at the time it didn't look like one. It looked a bit messy. So right now what I am looking at is a potential higher low setup with MJWL as well as ALPP. However, MJWL probably might be better because this one is trying to break out of this 12 range, which is like a nice solid number. It was resistance back here. It was support all the way back here, so it's a somewhat important level, and it can try to make some kind of a move. We have this spike. If we make like a higher low, maybe something above VWAP, I have no idea where it can try. I might be interested in trading that, and it would be probably a small size because I'm just not really I don't have that much experience compared to morning panic bounce plays. This is trying new setups, so yeah, that could be a potential, as well as ALPP. However, this one might be a bit sketchy because it's ran before a whole bunch, and sometimes like right here it has this follow-up run up, it downtrends, it has like a green day, and as you can tell right here, it just continued the downtrend. It didn't necessarily continue the run or do something nice, so it might be something that I would be in and out the same day. I have a much higher priority with MJWL, so yeah, that's what I have for right now. I'll be looking at that. No morning panic bounce plays. If I don't have any trades today, they'll totally be fine. I would have been salty if I missed a nice morning panic bounce play, but that's not the case. Alright, it is 10:06 a.m. I want to make an update. Maybe if I was looking at it closer, I could have taken an entry while it was in this range, but I thought this whole thing was a bit aggressive, this higher low here, but it did continue the move, and it did break 13, and now it is looking like it's having some kind of topping action. I just feel like this thing is a bit too accelerated, not as gradual as some of the morning panic bounce plays that actually work out very nicely tend to be, but maybe this one can still work. I was actually interested in shorting this one. Just for that reason, thinking that it could fail this range right here, a clear risk level. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but it's not shortable here on Schwab, so there's no setup here. IFXY, nothing I'm interested in. PUGE, I guess this one also did like a red to green, which makes sense because it's still trying to uptrend, although this is looking a little toppy right there, but it can still continue the uptrend. It did have this spike and then it went red. and then it went green, and then it dropped right at that red green mark. This would have been hard, I think, but maybe an entry at 123. But then it only gets to 128, so the range here isn't really that nice, but it is trying to do that red to green move I've been thinking about. AOPP, this was like a dip towards VWAP. I wasn't really interested in this, and the volume isn't looking that nice anymore, so I'll probably remove it. It'll still be on the other watch list, but it's not something I'm really that interested in because the volume isn't really necessarily there. That's all I have for the moment. It is nice to see IOUS trying to uptrend as well. You know, it can try to break this range, but that'd be kind of crazy. This could be a potential short in the upcoming days. That could be a possibility. And at least today, this one is shortable. So that's all I have for right here. Alright, it is 11:36 a.m. and I just had a weird trade. So the last time I made a video recording, it was back here, and I was thinking of a short position, but MJWL was not shortable at the time. It's still not shortable, and it was like a 4% move. It did drop from this 1320 level, 1318 level, and it did drop to this 12.7 level, and it held VWAP, and that would have been that 4% move. But the issue is that it did that downtrend at all, and I thought, alright, the short setup was good, but you know, I completely forgot about the higher low setup because I thought this was a bit aggressive, especially the breakout it did there. But then, you know, when it dropped here, and I thought that short selling idea, you know, would have worked out, I forgot the idea of considering a buy. And this was a nice higher low setup, sure. You know, you can call it like a double bottom from this level, which helps. It's better than a lower low from here. And that made a nice 8% move, I think, give or take 8% to 373. Maybe a sell into 350 would have been nice, or maybe I would have even have sold right here when it just failed right here the first time. But I don't know, the volume here isn't really the best, so it did make this move. I didn't want to chase it. I realized that the point I should have been in was that same level where I thought I could have covered for a nice profit if I were to have been able to short it. And then now it looks like a head and shoulder head, and now it could be making the shoulder. So I also had not just another opportunity for a higher low setup here. It's holding VWAP. It's higher than this level, which is a double bottom, but it also looks like a head and shoulder head, and then I could be buying into what would be the dip right before it makes the right shoulder. So I was in this at, I only traded a small $130 position, and you know, because it's speculative. I'm not really, you know, I'm not an expert with these, but it seems like I'm learning pretty quickly with higher low setups. It's a lot different from morning panic bounce plays, and of course this thing, if you look at the daily chart, has in mind this breakout over 12, so maybe this thing can try to make a nice continuation over the next few days. But I'm here for just the intraday setups, and I don't want to get too carried away trying 18 different setups at the same time. But I was in here at 12.95, and that was 11.35 right here. 11, literally like right, let me get rid of actually extend. Oh, that makes it look weird, but it shows better the setup. I was in at 11.35, so before it did this freaking little just blue, you know, blown out little move there, I was in at 12.95, which was right here. There was also like a nice 200,000 share bidder at I think it was 12.9. Yeah, it was around 12.9. There was a big bidder too that was helping it, and I was in at 295, just a $100 position. Freaking sketchy, just like big crazy spike right here, and it kind of looks like it's gonna form the shoulder. Now it can make a larger shoulder. It might even break here and not be a head and shoulder, so it'll be a breakout. But you know, I was in it for just that dip buy setup, the higher low, you know, at a dip, and I sold at 13.33, 11.36, like right at 11.36, because the volume isn't really that much. You can see, you can look back actually. Yeah, 11. No, I don't think my order's there anymore. Yeah, unless it was this right here with another person who bought or sold. But I sold right here, That was very interesting. I would have liked it if it just made a slow uptrend, right? But I mean, that's just the way this one trades, I guess. Again, my sell was here, my buy was at 12.95. Sure, I could have traded a larger size and that would have been nice, but I don't mind the size that I traded, really, because I'm just messing around trying to practice these higher low setups. A bunch of things were in favor. Once again, nice daily chart over 12. You know, could try to run for a few more days. Double bottom here, higher low from this double bottom, also holding VWAP, and then that potential head and shoulders formation. You know, in theory, this can try to make a shoulder. It will be a nice short setup, risking the highs right here, but you know, it's not shortable, at least on Schwab. So that's what I have right there. I guess it might be a green day. I'm not necessarily interested in trading anything else, so that's probably gonna be it. I could have traded larger, sure, but you know, at least I didn't trade one share like I did yesterday. So that's all I have for right now. I'll make I'll make an update later. Maybe this will be the last one before, you know, right before the market closes. But yeah, that was a pretty cool trade. I wish it would have been a slower uptrend to practice holding setups longer. That would have been nice. But I mean, if it's gonna have a crazy spike like that, I'll take it. Alright, it is 4:24 and I am here to call it off. I just had one trade with Mr. MJWL, and this one was supposed to be like a higher low setup. My entry was 11.35, which was right here, right when it started the turnaround. I was kind of thrown off with this like big humongous, you know, spike immediately after I got in. And actually, this isn't the first time I try something like this where it's putting up higher lows and then the thing has like a crazy spike like this where it jumps on air, and that always just kind of throws me off. I just need to I guess consider the fact that this is kind of normal for OTCs, especially with low volume. But that was a setup there. 295 was my entry right here, and I did sell at 333, yeah, 1333, right about here at 1136. It did do that thing where I thought it could try to make a head and shoulder head, and instead of the shoulder being here, it did kind of like put up a higher low and then make this the shoulder. But the downtrend here was small. You know, it did get down to the neckline, it held support, and then it made another move for 14. So this is actually kind of cool to look at. I need to consider holding longer for some of these. I knew I was selling at the time at a high and not gonna risk, you know, it making a lower low. It did put up a higher low and continue, and yeah, I just probably need to not get shaken out if it just has a big spike like it did right then and there, or if it jumps on air. Sometimes the bid and the ask just lifts up and it just starts trading at a much higher level, and I just need to either try selling there or go for a higher low. You know, if it makes a lower low, if it breaks the support level, that's too bad, but a lot of the times, like it did here, it makes a higher low and it continues the uptrend. And that was a small size. Something I need to really do, and it's a shame at this point in my career I haven't been really doing it, but I need to figure out a dollar risk level before I place a trade, because that will help me trade a lot nicer, a lot larger positions. I'm very happy trading $500 to $800 positions with morning panic bounce plays, because they haven't been in an exact science recently. But something like this where in theory a setup should take its time, I should probably be better with that. Let's just say in theory, you know, I'm in the trade right here and I want to risk probably VWAP breaking, so let's just say 1282 is my risk level, right? 1282, and let's just say I am gonna be in at that price at 1295. So 1282, 1295, that's 647, that's 641. So that's like risking, $6 and just a little bit of change. So in theory, I could have traded a $600 position and have that tiny dollar loss planned out. But in theory, I could try like a simple $10 max loss risk thing, and then that would help me trade such a large size, especially if the risk level is extremely close, like it was in this case, to the entry price. Then it will let me trade like a $600 position, and instead of making $3.80, I could make like $20 or something like that. So that's the idea there. Again, it's a shame that I haven't really been doing that. I've just been trading position size based on how much money I want to put in a trade. But when you do that whole thing of risk reward in terms of how much you're going to plan to lose if the setup doesn't work out, I need to trade accordingly, because that will help me actually trade larger positions and be much more profitable. IFXY did downtrend. I was actually thinking a little bit, the idea of short selling, but I mean, it could try to trade back and forth in this range and do some kind of attempted breakout. The issue is that it does kind of trade weird if you look at the daily chart, and it could very well try again and do some gap up tomorrow or whatever, just a nice spike tomorrow, but I'll probably leave it alone. PUGE looks better for a short setup just by the way that it's looking, but it could also be a trap. I have to take things really cautiously now that I'm able to short and consider what could be a short selling setup. ILUS is similar. This could be a number 6, but sometimes these things try to reach the previous run-up highs, kind of like CYBL is currently doing. It's trying to reach the highs off of the previous run-up as well, but who knows, it might do it, it might not. A great example was, I think, AOPP, right? Yeah, this was an example where it had a run up, it tried again. I guess it didn't do it right then and there, but it did break out later. So that's something to take into consideration. I had no interest of trading this one really. And yeah, that's all I have. I just probably need to, definitely consider dollar, like risk levels. No longer just throw in like, oh, let's trade a $500 position. Let's try to do that in terms of how much do I want to lose if the setup doesn't work out, a number I'm comfortable with. That can help me trade a lot larger and be a lot more profitable. And then if the setup doesn't work, I lose a certain amount that I'm very happy with. That will help me be much more profitable and make more money. And I'm doing a good job, I think, trying these new type of setups outside of morning panic bounce place. That's all I have. I think today was pretty good, but I definitely have to improve on those things.